we are here to do today is to talk about how long does it actually take to become better at singing? Because I think it's a question that we probably ask ourselves when we're starting out. You might have asked yourself this question. I certainly think about it retrospectively more than anything, because I sort of just fell into singing as it turns out, and I have been a professional singer for more than 28 years, oh goodness. And I've been a vocal coach for about the last 7 years. And really being a vocal coach and thinking about what are the steps that you need to take to get better at singing has caused me to reflect on, how long did it actually take me to improve on various elements? Now, the first thing that I want to say is that you never stop learning. As a singer, I am still taking vocal coaching lessons myself with my singing teacher. I consume all things voice science and voice as much as I can, take a ton of different courses. So it's not like you ever stop. But I think what happens is you're in different stages and you might be focusing on different things. And so with that in mind, it certainly helps to have a roadmap. And so one of the tools that I use is my vocal coaching roadmap. And I've seen it consist of 4 key areas that cycle all the time: preparation, practice, polish, and then performance. And so those can align with certain areas of your vocal development. For me, preparation is all about what I can do every day. I call them my daily vocal care habits to nurture, develop, and look after my voice, basically. The next stage, practice, is as it sounds. And I think that's the area that we're really going to focus on, even though all of these elements are relative and play a part. I think, as I mentioned, just depending on where you are in your vocal development journey will depend on how long you spend in each stage. And that itself will have a defined amount of time where you start to see some improvements in your singing. The polish stage is what I call really a deep dive. It's in my practice, we use a song study or a video performance review where you're looking, literally spotlighting elements down to vowels, down to specific voice qualities, down to what structures are working, what techniques or embellishments you might like to use to enhance the performance. You might be moving from practice into a rehearsal phase where you're involving other people or practicing or rehearsing in a different environment, all the way through to when you finally deliver the performance. And that can look like a couple of different things, again, depending on where you are in your performance journey or your artistry or your creative development. So what I'd like to share with you a couple of tips of what I think helps to shift the dial and how long it actually takes. Now, a great analogy that you can use is the exercise analogy. I have an exercise science background. I used to be a gym instructor and aerobics instructor for many years, like 10 years. And I use a lot of the processes around training my clients in the same way I used to personal train my clients. So the great point is that the larynx and our singing muscles are muscles like any other muscle in the body. So it's the same thing. The first thing to remember is everybody is different and we all work, our bodies respond to exercises in different ways. And like I mentioned, depending on what you're working on, that will give you an idea of where you need to spotlight your focus. So say your goal is to run a 5K. We'll use that exercise analogy. You go to the gym, you book in with a session with a trainer and you say, look, I've got this 5K run coming up. The trainer is probably going to say, how far away have you got? How much time have you got to lead into that? You say, I've got 30 days. Now, for a general fitness program, a general strengthening, a general agility program, and those are kind of like the roadmap moving to performance. If your 5K was your performance, aligning that with my coaching roadmap, generally speaking, 4 to 6 weeks is going to get you ready for your 5K performance. Same thing applies to your voice. 4 to 6 weeks is a really great time to use to spotlight something specific like a performance. If you're developing something that's a little bit bigger, like extending your range or vocal agility, I think you can see gains in that time as well. So 4 to 6 weeks is a great time frame, but to be able to really see improvement, you need to be specific with your goal. Now, I'll link you to some videos on how to set and smash your singing goals, because having that clarity, having that destination, that goal that you're working towards helps you to refine what it is that you actually spend your time doing. And that's the secret. It's getting laser focused on your practice, just like as if you were at the gym. So the trainer at the gym is going to say to you, here's your program, aka practice plan. This is what you need to do. The next question they're going to ask you is, what frequency can you actually get into the gym? And I'm going to ask you the same question. How many times a week can you practice, and for how long? The trainer will often shape, personalize your exercise program based on how much time you have. So if you've got 60 minutes 3 times a week, there is so much that you can do, and chances are you will see your improvements in your singing or in your fitness, cardiovascular, or strengthening, whatever you're working towards physically in the gym, closer to the 4-week mark. If you don't have as much time and you say, well, maybe I'll be in the gym for, 3 times at 15 minutes each time, you're still going to get some improvements, but it might take you longer, closer to the 6 to 8 week mark. And that is a way that you can consider how long it takes to get better at singing. Now, it is a kind of a how long is a piece of a string type question. But if we use our bodies, our bigger muscle groups as a guide, we use the exercise analogy as a guide, we use how much time we've got and how much frequency we can give as we're leading towards our goal, that can give you an idea. My personal experience, I like to do some like A/B testing, I guess you'd call it. And one of the things I used to do every day for a whole year is I would do a particular sequence of what I call a vocal workout. Scales, vocalizing through scales, they were random. The scales and the overall focus of agility was just to get better within that framework. It wasn't like I had a song that I was working on and there was a particular embellishment that I needed to learn, and I spotlit and really focused on just those notes. And that was more of a general workout. So if we use the exercise analogy again, just rocking up into the gym, walking on the treadmill, maybe doing a few leg extensions or squats, just very general focused exercise. If I was going into the gym and saying, I want to train to join the police force, which I used to train people who were doing that, we would have a list of things that they would need to complete, and we would do specific exercises that would make them better at those specific tasks. So when you're practicing, it helps to focus on the specific end result. I know I'm just saying this over and over again because it helps to determine what exercises you do in your practice. So mine were general. The vocal workout element was super general. I just wanted to improve my agility and kind of see actually how long it took for my voice to warm up. This entire practice was about 13 minutes long. They were 2-minute song segments from the Berkeley Voice Technique courses that I took. You can get these books as well too. I can link you to the contemporary singing books that Berkeley uses as their guides or their resources. And I basically went through this pretty much on average 3 times a week for, let's call it 40 weeks. We'll just make it like realistic. After that time, I definitely noticed more flexibility, more agility. I was able to navigate my voice with a bit more ease. The next year, what my goal was to extend my range. So I wanted to extend my belt. I think it was at a D5 quite comfortably. I wanted to push it over to an E. My coordination change point was definitely the E flat / D sharp, depending on how you're looking at it. And I wanted to both extend my range, but also navigate more smoothly across that transition. What I did is a siren every day. I released tension by stretching my body, and that was literally all I did. Now, bearing in mind, the backdrop is that I'm a professional singer. I was working 2 to 3 times a week, doing covers gigs anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a night. So I'm I'm getting a good stamina workout already. So these were really like fine-tuning elements. I kind of have my overall singing technique down, but obviously always room for improvement. And so overlaying these techniques onto my everyday workouts of actually getting out to gigs, what I noticed, interestingly, was doing the sirens, which is a stretch for your voice. It just really helps you with agility and flexibility and coordination. I was able to extend my range by that tone, to an E5 in a belt coordination. I was stoked. So I think the exercise needs to be relevant to the goal, but it sometimes doesn't need to be quite as intense as we think it needs to be. You can get those gains from 5 minutes a day, releasing tension, doing a siren, and those are the foundations of my daily vocal care habits. So that's something I try to do every day. Sirens, stretches, and then what I call speaking voice mindfulness. And that's just being mindful of how you use your voice so that you're giving it rest if you have high voice use, periods of voice use, and that's speaking or singing, as well as avoiding situations of the extremes where you're having to shout, like when you're out in loud environments, and that can be the club, all the way through to a cafe where you're fighting with the coffee machine, all the way through to whispering. So being mindful of your voice from a nurturing perspective, but also in my coaching sessions, we have a little singing hack where I get my students to do some exercises with their speaking voice and just change the voice quality while they're speaking as a practice to strengthening it when they go to use it in their singing voice. Same instrument. So we're kind of hacking the system a little bit. So if you only have 5 minutes a day, I would say do those daily vocal care habits, and I'll link you to a video of me talking through those options. If you have a little bit more time and you're wanting to personalize your plan, like you've rocked into the gym and said you're working towards 5K, the trainer might say, amazing, what I'm going to get you to do is do a 5-minute warm-up, which is kind of like your siren. You might do some stretches, and you specifically focus on the areas that are going to work harder, which are your hamstrings, your calves, your hip flexors, and your thighs. And so you might stretch specifically with those, but you might still do some light upper body stretches because we still want full range of motion throughout all our muscles. And then you might go and do some leg strengthening exercises because you're noticing that your calves are getting a bit tired. There might be something specific. And then you would go and run, hopefully, 5K, or you'd build up to that 5K. And so that is an example of, if you've got a bit more time, what you can do is tack on, firstly, a very specific vocal technique exercise. If you're extending your range, you might be singing through scales with a focus of not vocalizing with vowels and just humming or sirening through them to increase the agility throughout the entire vocal scale, the vocalization. If you are working towards a performance, you might need to do a little piece of the song that needs a bit of troubleshooting. Maybe it's just the chorus. You're not sure what's going on. And sometimes with my clients, we'll spotlight a bar or two at a time. And we'll actually talk about, okay, what are the consonants doing? Is there some kind of consonant that's causing you to use more breath than you need? Or are you changing the shape of the vowel when it would be easier to do it in its pure form? We'll get that specific with the techniques. And that's kind of like doing your strengthening exercises for your thighs or your hamstrings or your calves if you were training for that 5K in the gym. Then if you said to me, I have up to 60 minutes of time that I can do this workout, maybe 3 times a week, I might say to you, okay, cool. That's where you throw your 5K run in at the end. After you've done your warm-up, after you've done your spotlight techniques, you go in and you do your actual full run-through, which of course, full run-through in singing is the whole song itself. But the key element that you need to really make it an effective practice and to see those improvements from that effective practice is you want to video yourself doing the sing through. Ideally video yourself doing the sing through of the little snippet, but also the song as a whole. And I want you to review back and think about what you really enjoyed about that performance. 3 things is what I ask my clients. What are 3 things that really jumped out at you as being a great job of your vocal delivery and you're happy with? And what are 3 things that you want to improve upon? What that does is it gives you information, it gives you feedback of what to take into your next practice session. And that's what shifts the dial and helps you to improve. If you're going into a practice or into a workout and you're just smashing through it, you have no idea if it's working, if it's not working. Are you hitting the mark? Are you hitting the notes? Is your pitch good? Are you releasing all of the things? If you don't know what's happening and you're not reflecting on that practice or that workout and figuring out what you might need to tweak for next time, that will make it an ineffective practice. And so I find the video performance review just the best tool. I'll link you to a video of me talking through how I believe it's the number 1 practice that you can do to improve your singing. But this combination, so it doesn't need to be 60 minutes necessarily. As long as it's 5 minutes, if you can do that more frequently, and then maybe build up depending on your vocal stamina or the time that you have available, 4 to 6 weeks, you should be able to see an improvement in your singing. Now, the kicker is that you can do your video performance review at the beginning of your vocal training journey, and I highly recommend you do this because it becomes kind of like a before and an after video, and that's actually how you will determine whether your singing has improved. So say we're starting off together, you will do a video of a song that you're ideally quite comfortable with. Or if you're feeling a little bit more confident, you can do one that you have a little challenge, something in it challenges you. So you video yourself performing it. You watch it back. You look for the 3 things that you really loved about the performance and the 3 things that you want to improve upon. Then you get to work practicing using the information that you took from that video, the things you want to improve. You spotlight and you focus on those in your practices. And that is, remember, 5 minutes of the daily vocal care habits is your fundamentals. So if you don't have time to practice, just do that. And then a little bit of a sing through of the song. If you've got 15 to 30 minutes, then you're going to spotlight the things that challenge you. You isolate them. You work out techniques that help you to strengthen or develop those challenging spots. And of course, you always do your daily vocal care habits in the beginning, and you might even be working through like a vocal warm-up as well. If you're asking a little bit more of your voice and you're going to do a bit of a sing, then if you have 30 to 60 minutes, that is where you will do, of course, your daily vocal care habits. You'll do a vocal warm-up. You will do the vocal workouts if you're spotlighting technique, and then you will actually do the song study, the sing through of the song. You video it, you watch yourself back, you make some notes, you make a plan for the next session. Now, that is the exact steps, depending on how much time you have, that will help you to improve your voice. Now, you will see some improvements in 4 to 6 weeks. You re-video yourself after 4 to 6 weeks. You watch yourself back and you compare those the videos to each other, and you will be able to see some improvements. Now, the goal is after every 4 to 6 weeks, depending again on how much time you have to invest moving forward, you can work with a vocal coach if you feel like you need a little bit of up leveling. You can increase your frequency. That will help to get the gains that you want a little bit quicker. But really, overall, if we look at spotlighting a technique per 4 to 6 weeks time frame, thinking about breath management, thinking about the voice quality choices that you want, thinking about filtering, and that's resonance choices, ways of gaining more power in your voice, more projection, all the way through to the polishing elements of the vocal delivery being made easier or harder by consonants or vowels, or any embellishments that you want to add, your signature sound, what voice qualities you want to use to tell the story, all the way through to rehearsing to practice. That takes about a year. So if you've got 3 to 5 times a week, 5 to 60 minutes, you will see some definite improvements in 4 to 6 weeks if you choose one of those practice plan options and implement them with focus. That's the secret, focused practice. And I've shared so many ways you can do that today. I also have a practice plan template that you can use where you see an overview of all of the elements broken down. And then, of course, you can reach out to me if you want a video performance review yourself, where I can watch you performing and give you feedback, or coaching if you're in Auckland, New Zealand, or if you want to do an online coaching session. And in May, I'm going to be releasing the online version of my curriculum, which is called the 14-Day Vocal Bootcamp, which is me taking you through all these steps with instruction, with videos, with step-by-step kind of exercises on how to develop your voice within my coaching framework. I'll pop links to all of these things that I've mentioned below today. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. How long has it taken you to improve your voice? Like I said, for me, it's about a year. It's never going to stop. I feel like it's a lifetime journey of discovery. I'm always learning new things, but I'd be keen to know how long it's taken you to develop your voice, and how maybe what you're working towards, and how long you might think that might take you. And I might be able to offer you some tips on how to fast track it, because that's the secret, I think, sometimes is really knowing what to focus on. And that can definitely fast track you. So if you like this video, please click the like button. If you want to see more from me, you can hit the subscribe button, and you'll get lots more videos talking about singing tips and hacks that are going to make you more confident in your singing ability, because that's the goal at the end of the day. So I'll see you next week. Have an amazing day. Talk soon.